Welcome to the Buckhorn Podcast. I am Martelle, and with me, no one. No one's here. I am by myself. Today on this episode, this is one that we're going to do a two-part on this. It is about 2 hours long, so I didn't want to inundate you guys with a 2-hour episode, but it's Randy, G.W, and myself. Some things that we talked about in this episode were my trip to Kings Island, Randy's dislike of the word Furbabies, and people referring to their pets as Furbabies. GW has issues with standing in line. I don't blame him. I wouldn't stand in line either. And then Randy gets into a huge story that is pretty funny about their trip to Louisville. If you get the opportunity with your Furbabies, put some socks on your dogs. Take video of that and then post it up on our Facebook page, and see if you get any responses different than your dog just looking at you, snarling, and getting up and walking away like I got. Anyway, enjoy the show, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Thanks.
Can't do amusement parks. I'm not emotionally equipped for it.
I'm not emotionally prepared to go ride a roller coaster.
No, it's not the roller coaster.
Of thousands of other people.
That's the part. I enjoy the roller coaster. It's the standing in line for 2 hours with like people whose pinnacle of their year is the fact that they were able to afford to spend $34 to go to Kings Island. Like I don't want to be around those people.
They waited for $20 a pop.
If you're listening to this and you are those people, don't come around me.
You're not even recording, are you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course you are. Sneaky Martelle with the sneaky fingers.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't even feel bad. That's exactly how I feel about it.
Well, me and big crowds in general don't get along.
No.
I quit going to things I enjoy, like concerts, because of people.
Oh, I can't stand crowds.
Driving freeways that get me places efficiently because of people.
But they don't get you there efficiently. That's the problem.
No, yeah. They don't.
Well, they don't anymore.
People.
They don't anymore. They used to, and it's just gone down.
Well, I mean,
downhill.
We were driving home today, and this lady was waiting to turn left, had a pickup truck with a kayak in the bed. Nobody behind us. Goes to pull in her driveway, cuts in front of us where Beth has to she didn't lock at the brakes, but hit him pretty hard. And then she eases into her driveway because it's got a steep incline.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because why not?
I can't stand people's arrogance and their egos. That I'm more important than you, and me getting my kayak into my driveway is more important than you guys.
Well, but that relates back to what we started talking about a little bit before I think Martelle actually hit record, which is we've got an entire generation of people from the age of 12, 13 years old to their mid to late 20s who have been constantly reinforced their whole life that they are the center of the universe. It's not a conscious thing. I don't think that lady was like, yeah, screw those guys behind us. It just never crossed her mind that other human beings might be affected by her actions.
Well, right, but it's all. I mean, she was middle-aged. She was older than I am. By far.
Oh, that's just a bitch then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're right. There are the way that things have shifted. And I was talking with an elderly resident of mine Friday about this. From like my generation on, it's just progressively gotten worse to where kids these days are told you're awesome. Kids these days are told you're doing, you're perfect. You're just as good. It's kind of like LeBron was told he's just as good as Jordan.
Yeah, but he was better actually.
I'm not even going to start that. We ain't got the time. No, but it's that. You're just as good as everybody else. You're perfect. I was talking with some friends of ours. They were in from Pennsylvania this morning, and I got to see their new baby boy. And he's a cute kid. And one of our other friends hadn't seen Huck in a while. And goes, man, your boy is adorable. And I said, we're really lucky because I told Beth when she got pregnant that I'm not going to pull any punches just because he's my kid. If this kid comes out ugly, I'm going to call it like I see it.
Yeah.
My biggest. You
were his dad, so it was 50-50.
And see, that was my fear. My fear was they would get. My wife is 5 foot even, and I was afraid he would come out short and then fat like me and just look mini Gus Macker logo.
Right.
So I'm going to assume you were in the delivery room when Huck was born.
That's a very good assumption. I was.
It's a terrible life choice. I was there when my daughter was born too. It's awful.
Right. It's awful. So when he came out, he was blue.
Well, she had to do an emergency C-section after 23 and a half hours. He came out.
Okay. So, but
bluish.
he was still blue.
Yeah, he
Eyes are
looked
kind of
weird.
like swollen shut, and just pulled him out, and he just looks like
Basically.
blue,
Well, I
like
made-
an alien.
Yeah, and speaking
Kinda
of alien,
gross
because like I
looking.
said, she had a C-section.
Yeah.
And the doctor was like, "Hey, stand up." You know, of course they have the curtain, and I'm sitting up by her head, and I'm telling her like, "You're doing great," and she's kind of on drugs. And my buddy Otero, he told me like a few months before, he said, "No matter what, if they put a curtain up, don't look over it.
Don't look over.
So they put the curtain up, and I remembered Otero. So I'm sitting down, I'm not seeing anything, and the doc goes, "Hey, Daddy, stand up and meet your son." I thought he was already born. No, I stood up and watched them pull this child out of my wife, and the whole, what was that, Predator?
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Oh no, alien.
Alien.
Alien where it busts
That's
out
from
of the
the
stomach.
Aliens, or in Independence Day where that thing pops out of the alien's chest. So it was like I watched this creature get pulled out of my wife. That, I mean, I was excited because we had struggled to even get pregnant. But yeah, he looked different than I expected.
See, but here's the good news for you. At least your son was born, and it was a C-section, and that's a weird scenario. When Elizabeth was born, if you're listening to this, kiddo, you've heard this story before, so you should be all right. When she was born, my ex-wife was in labor for quite a while, and she really struggled with the whole pushing thing. She was pushing all the wrong places, and not good things happened in that area. Like, it really ruined me on vagina for a really long time. Like, it messed with my head for a good 3-4 months. Like, it was not good what was happening down there. The doctor was like, "Yeah, you should come see this kid come out." And I was like,
I hope somebody's having a good Wednesday and eating their lunch right now.
Absolutely.
So when Lexi was born, and I remind her of this, when you were born, you were ugly. You were blue. You look like an alien.
You look like you had tentacles.
You're, like,
said,
"You're not done yet, Doc. Can
You were
put that
swollen.
back?"
You were swollen. You were just purple, blue, pink. Everything was round.
That's because she didn't know what gender she wanted to be yet.
Everything was
Right.
around.
I'm like, and I show her pictures. I'm like, we didn't know if you were going to be cute, what you were going to look like. All we knew is you had long fingers and long fingernails.
You looked like the last 5 minutes of Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
It was really
It's
bad.
just wrong. And that's
she-
the thing. Go ahead.
And I'm like, she's like, well, that's not very nice. And I'm like,
No, it's honest.
I said, it's honest. Be lucky that you look like you do now. I said, because if you look like this,
Life would be hard.
life would be a lot harder
Living
for
in the
you.
basement.
Life would be hard. That's why I have a beard.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make me attractive, but it does make me less horrific.
Less ugly, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It takes less. It takes away.
Absolutely.
People
Yeah.
tell me to shave my beard off. They're like, I don't remember what your face looks like. And I just say, you're welcome. I'm doing this for y'all.
Correct.
It's for the better of mankind.
Right.
Correct.
But that's my thing. We were having this discussion. They're like, your kid's so cute. And I was like, I think he's adorable. And I hope I'm not biased because when I see Facebook posts like, here's our new baby, and everybody's like, your kid's perfect, your kid's beautiful, your kid's, I get it. It's like an innocent life. And I would love my kid regardless of what it looked like. But I hate when you see this kid that comes out looking literally like an orangutan. And everybody's like, that's the most beautiful baby I've ever seen. I'm like, are you looking at the ears? Because they're not even in the frame. like, do you see this kid's
You
eyes
look
way
like a
too close
Ferengi.
together?
Kid.
A Ferengi?
That's a Star Trek reference. Somebody listen to this will get that reference. Go ahead.
We don't have a large... Martelle's shrugging. I don't know. We don't have a large fan base yet. I don't know if
guarantee
we
you
have...
somebody listening to this knows what a Ferengi is.
Somebody leave a message if you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know you listen to the
What's the
podcast.
over-under on that one?
Looks like a Klingon.
Klingon, I know. That's
Okay,
the,
so picture a Klingon with ears about 8 inches out from its head.
Is that the
bartender?
Yes,
Is that the
that's a
one with
Ferengi.
the-
See,
Okay.
you know
big
what the
giant
Ferengi
forehead?
is. Yes, and the ears
Oh,
are like
okay.
Just
sticking
didn't know
around.
what he.
I didn't know what
Yeah.
it
I
was
just
called.
know it's the bartender
That's
once you
a
described
Ferengi.
it.
I just know that when I see something like that, it's either from the Hunger Games or Star Wars or Star Trek.
Wait, the Hunger Games?
Yeah, it's weird too. They set people on fire some.
Just people.
Yeah, but weird people.
Yeah, but not alien races.
Yeah, but weird people.
Okay.
Which we're going to talk about later. All right, we're kind of talking about weird people now.
Hey, weird people.
Hey, all you weird people listening. Those of you with the large craniums or oversized earlobes.
Or those of you who think the Earth is flat. You ever seen a picture of a gathering of a Flat Earth Society group?
Oh, I watched the whole video.
Did they all
of it.
lay down?
They literally look like everything you picture in your mind of what people who have been made fun of and beat up their whole life
You know what
look
they
like.
look like to me? They look like people that LARP.
No, I just imagine it's people who are just walking around in white robes.
You don't get it. That was an old school burn I haven't used in years.
Old
he
school
LARPed
joke.
before, more than once.
I did LARP a couple of times.
If you guys don't know what that is, that's live action role playing. That's the people that make.
You get to take a stick and hit people with it.
No,
yes.
That's where you spend your valuable time cutting out cardboard boxes to shape them like swords.
I didn't do any of that. I literally took a broom, I cut the end off of it, I wrapped it in foam, and then hit people with it.
Did you have an outfit you wore?
No.
Fireball.
It's the wrong color, man. Wrong color.
Their windscreen.
It's the wrong color. It's black.
Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. You never wore any kind of a costume?
No.
I don't believe you.
I don't care.
How do you LARP without wearing a costume?
You show up and hit people with a stick.
That's just assault.
Right. Right.
Try to make it sound cool because we're recording.
I don't know that it was cool. I'm not going to go all
if I
crazy.
Hit with a stick, I'm just going to hit people with a stick.
But I did just show up and hit people with a stick.
Yeah, that's just hitting people with a stick.
Right.
So flat earthers are LARPers is basically what we're saying.
Well, flat earthers suck anyway. What do you think about Furbabies?
Oh, here we go.
Can you define Furbaby?
So here's the thing. I texted Martelle midweek. Last week we kicked off a little segment called...
Is it like a furry?
Yeah,
no.
Back to the LARPing.
Okay.
Speaking of LARPing, no, we talk about what chaps our cheeks, and I texted Martelle midweek because I was in a discussion with some friends, and I said, "Dude, you know what sets me off more than anything else?" And it's something stupid. Like I should not care one iota.
No, you shouldn't
at all. And I don't respond, but when I see somebody online on Facebook or even in person say something, call their pet of any type of fur baby, whether it's a cat, a dog, a chinchilla. I guess you would call like a lizard a fur baby.
A parakeet?
Yeah, a parakeet, a feather baby. It drives me nuts. And I saw this one.
Baby.
I saw this one that said somebody had no kids for whatever reason, whether they couldn't have them, didn't want them.
My guess is they're extremely unattractive.
But it was like a screenshot of them. It's like a meme. I don't know this person.
Okay.
But it was somebody that owned a pet. I'm presuming a dog. The way the conversation was going, and they said they celebrate Mother's Day. And I got to talking with some buddies about this, about the whole, I don't care that people have pets and love them. Like my German Shepherd growing up was my best friend. I loved that dog. And that's cool. But there's a big difference between pets and people. I don't go to a pet store and purchase a baby.
Yeah, in the event of like
you don't
Armageddon, I can eat a pet.
Right. I'm not going to eat a baby.
I might.
The other one. You notice I paused. I was like, wait, Armageddon? That's pretty much the worst it's going to get, maybe.
I mean,
Martelle's going out with flaming arrows like no laws against this
zombie apocalypse.
It comes down to it. I might eat a baby.
But my point is, in normal functioning society, if you want to call ours that, nobody gives birth to a pet, no human. There's a huge difference between having a child change my life in every function and I have to go home and let my dog out because he's been in a cage for 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a huge disconnect and difference, a big wide difference between owning a pet and having even one child. And when people say fur baby, and what really drives me nuts is when people treat their pets better than other people. When you buy your pet like really expensive clothes, and you know what I'm saying?
Anybody who puts clothes on their pet can go eat a dick.
Well,
I can't stand that. It drives me absolutely insane.
What gets me is people let their dog out in the winter, and they're like, "Let him in. He's cold." I'm like, "This dog was
the dog has clothes. It's built in."
Whether you believe in evolution or you believe that Christ designed everything, this creature has become a creature that is meant to be outside. We brought them inside. No dog ever built a house and installed AC. It was like chilling in the summer, and then we took him out of that.
I don't know. Have you seen Diesel?
Well, maybe that's why your AC's jacked up.
Right. I mean, he built this house and
on rock and roll.
It's kind of jacked up.
The idea of putting clothes on pets weirds me. I can't even fathom what makes somebody's brain go to that place.
I don't even like buying clothes for myself, let alone clothes shopping for a dog.
No, my wife does like 99% of my clothes shopping.
Yeah, Walmart $5 t-shirts.
Absolutely, because I couldn't care less.
It's the whole term fur babies though. It doesn't make me angry where I'm like going to rage and like yell. Like I don't reply online, but it seriously is one of those things that if I ever typed in the letters SMH, that would be that time is. I can't. That's another thing. Everybody types SMH, and I don't know why. I'm just like, that's one of the dumbest things ever. I started doing it ironically.
You should just type in FML.
FMLs. Actually, I could apply that one probably a lot more. But the whole term fur babies and saying I should celebrate Mother's Day because I own a dog or a parakeet or whatever is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
And that's what chaps my cheeks.
Sweet.
And it chapped me enough that day that I actually texted Martelle, like, do not let me forget about this because
you didn't.
I need to voice my opinion to the masses of the dozen of people that are listening.
The 34 people.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. We had a family reunion one time, and one of my...
Dude, your family reunions are epic.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
They're not as epic as my family's 4th of July.
No.
My wife has told me stories about your family reunions.
Yeah, well, we have this one. I don't even know how she's related to me. She's like dad's aunt or second cousin or something.
Dude, half the people that show up at your family reunions aren't related to you.
Right. Well, and I'm grateful for that.
Or they're fourth cousins twice removed.
Yeah. By then, they've stopped sleeping with each other. They were like first and second cousins.
Those are marryable.
And not in some of my distant family. That's too far out. They like to keep it close knit. But they come up from Southern Ohio. I don't even know her. I don't know where she lives. I don't know anything about her. I guess she's a nice lady. I can't even tell you her name, but she brought a dog up. Long story short, dog bites a toddler.
Delicious.
Everybody freaks out. Dogs eat babies. Fact. So the dog bites the toddler. She runs over and picks up the dog and starts like consoling this dog. Like, the baby's sorry, he didn't know any better. He didn't mean to scare you. Talking to the dog, who was wearing a sweater.
No.
Like a Maltese or some kind of little furry dog.
No.
It's okay. I'm sorry you got scared. I know you were just acting in self-defense. And I was like, I was about to go Baxter that thing off a bridge. I was about to punt that thing out the door.
Yeah.
It drove me nuts. And I seriously about told her to get out. It wasn't my house, but it drove me up the wall.
Elizabeth's mom, my ex-wife, had a cat when Elizabeth was born.
Big mistake.
Oh, no. Yes. I still notice I said had a cat. Elizabeth was probably, 10 weeks old, 12 weeks old. And I had changed her diaper. And she was laying there on the middle of the bed.
The cat's diaper?
No, the baby's diaper.
Just checking.
And I turned around. I'm putting the diaper into the little diaper genie thing. And
those things suck, by the way.
Yeah, no, they're not good.
They're not good. They
We're
smell.
not rich enough.
Yeah,
They should have a trash can.
It works way better. Your trash can works way better.
Yeah, the trash can in a bag just works better than a diaper genie.
Yeah, diaper genie, not good.
Good that it'd be poor.
But Elizabeth's kind of doing her thing at the time, which is this little gurgling thing. And it's like, oh, and all of a sudden it goes to this. And I turn around and the cat had dive bombed onto her face to try to suffocate her. The cat lived about 6 more seconds because that's how long it took for it to fly across the room into a wall about 20 feet away as hard as I could throw it. Cats aren't people. They're not as valuable as people. The end.
All right. Well, thanks for listening today. The end. That's all we had to say. Cats are not people. Also a fact. Yeah, no, that's it though. I'm done on my little rant there. Every time I see Furbaby, I seriously laugh. I have friends, family. They're like, "Oh, we have a pet, so we know what it's like to be a parent." And I'm like,
"You have no idea."
I want to physically smack them to cause them some discomfort or pain. And it's not that I care that they value their pets. If I had a pet right now, I would take care of it. I don't believe in having a pet if you're not going to. But and I don't mind that other people love their pets, but don't compare it to raising a kid. Don't compare it to having a kid.
No.
Even if you take it around in its own little carrier or whatever, it's still not like having a kid.
No, and I'm going to make fun of you.
I don't know. Hold on. Walking a dog in a stroller might be the same.
Or on one of those chest carrier things.
In a baby Bajorn.
I'm sorry, what?
Bajorn.
Baby Bajorn.
Nice.
Yeah, it's basically a front pack for a kid.
From the same country as Bajork.
Oh, if you ever have Krista on, she'll talk about what chaps her cheeks, which is kid leashes.
Oh, those are my favorite
makes her
too.
Angrier than when she sees somebody on a kid leash.
Which is funny because she babysat Huck once and took him for a walk
and put him on the kid leash.
She put him on the kid leash we gave her
because she had our dog and
right. I was always that parent who was like, "How lazy do you have to be to put your kid on a leash? It's so irresponsible." We had a kid and I went, "Where's the freaking leash?" I was way less judgmental of parents after I had a kid.
Absolutely.
And I don't care what people say because my kid is one of those kids that he's a great kid, but he'll run wherever he wants. And it's not about whether you even turn your head for a split second. He'll disappear. So I went, you know what? I would much rather have somebody judge me for having my kid on the leash than them judge me for my kid falling in a gorilla pit or something.
I was just super happy when you had kids because you were super judgmental of me as a father. And then you had kids.
I'm
and
judgmental
you
of
became
you,
less.
period. I'm less judgmental of you as a father now. I am less judgmental of you how you did as a father, which the jury's still kind of out on that one. But yeah,
Hey, they both survived. They've graduated high school.
They both made 18. I'll give you
Let's
that.
go.
I never had to put my kids on a leash. Thank God.
Yeah, we never put either.
bought
No, you
those
never
on.
let them out of the cage.
Well, no. Why would I? That's stupid.
Leave them locked in. Don't take them anywhere. You don't need a
Right.
leash.
I leave them in the cage, and then I come home at lunch, and
You
I
got one
let
of
them
those-
out.
you got
I
one
put
of
them
those-
outside. I call them in. We put them back in the cage. I go back
That
to work.
legitimately sounds
Right.
like my childhood.
I mean,
Oh,
why would I?
My childhood in the
leash.
summer.
I put them on the runner out back.
That's what I'm saying.
On
You
the
got one of those
weekends,
runner lines go
they
across
goes
the,
back between the house and
You
the
got,
shed.
you got a good amount of land.
Yeah. No, I don't let them run unless they really need to go, and then I put the collar on them so they can go to the fence boundary.
Shot collar. I just picture Harley out there running with a shotgun.
Yeah,
And
you
she'd be
only,
the
you
one
only
to
get
test
3
it.
acres out of the 5, sweetie.
Too far.
Too far.
Did you learn your lesson?
Didn't you hear the beeping before?
Daddy loves you. Come back.
Come on back.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, things change when you have a kid. I don't care what anybody says. They do. I didn't expect them to change as much as they did.
Well, hell yeah, they change. You
And-
don't get to do as much anymore.
That's true. I think I could do what I did before I had a kid because I didn't do a lot.
But your wife would hate you so much.
Not anymore. She already does. She hates me a good bit. It's just like I'm too tired to care. Like I stopped playing Xbox. We used to play every night until
A
1,
lot.
2 in the morning.
We used to play till a lot.
And they were like, GW's like, hey, things are going to change when your kid's born. And my cousin Jay, us 3 were on every night. To the point if we jumped on and like by 8 o'clock, everybody else went on, we're sound text like, dude, are you okay? And I was like, no, it's Xbox. He'll go to bed. I'll play Xbox. I've played twice in 4.5 years.
That's
and
right.
neither time's with them because I turn it on and I'm sitting there, the game screen's loading. I'm like dozing off or I'm like,
It'll get better. You'll get to play more. But I only play my PlayStation when a new game comes out that I
well,
want
if
to
I had
play.
a PlayStation, I probably wouldn't play that much either.
Well,
That's fair.
PlayStation's
I'm just
better than
hoping
Xbox.
Randy jumps back
Uh-oh.
in when,
Changed my mind.
when the new Borderlands comes out.
He told me Borderlands is coming out, and that game, I could
Stupid.
go home today and play Borderlands all the way through. We did it. We did a camp one time, and
Yeah.
we took our Xbox. Him and I started from scratch and played all the way through the game and all the side games in a week.
Jesus.
I mean, we literally got up, went to breakfast, came back, played Xbox.
All we
went
had to
and
do was
played.
play some music every
Yeah, we
night.
played music twice a day. A couple songs in the morning, like 10:30, and then 3-4 songs at night. So
You were
we
you were
literally-
just indoor kids for a week.
yeah.
Yeah.
We were like, we have no work to do. We have no responsibility outside of playing music. We got up and ate the free food and played Xbox, and that was our week. And it was honestly, I left there, I was like, we
was pretty
accomplished
great.
something.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did
I need that for a job. Except I don't need
Well-
to play music.
good. Do you play anything?
No.
You should.
I used to play trombone.
The flout.
I bet you
in
did.
fifth
Are you a
grade.
flautist?
No.
I bet you're a great flautist with lips like
Skin
those.
flautist.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. What are we supposed to be talking about today?
Whatever we feel like. It
We got
doesn't matter.
wedge salads
I
on
went
your
to
TV.
I just got back from Kings Island this
Oh,
weekend.
yeah.
Went
I haven't
Friday.
been there in a while. How's that?
I haven't
how's
been
that
to
place?
Kings Island since 1993.
Shut up.
Seriously.
You live in Ohio.
I know.
It's one of the
I
top
u-
two
well, I grew
amusement
up
parks
on-
in the world.
the east side of Ohio, which is further from Kings Island than
Then
Cedar Point.
Okay, that's fair.
So we usually went to Cedar Point.
yeah, we usually go to Kings Island instead of
When
Cedar.
the last time I went to Kings Island, it was owned by Paramount.
Oh
It was
yeah.
probably that long since I've been there too. You know when I'm going again?
Probably
Never.
1993.
Never again.
When Paramount owns it again.
Well, let me rephrase. The last time I went to an amusement park and enjoyed it was my summer between my junior and senior year of high school. The girl I was dating, her dad worked for Honda, and Honda rented out all of Cedar Point just for their employees. So there were only like 10,000 people there. And a normal day at Cedar Point, 70, 80,000 people, 90,000 people.
Right, so you got to wait in line for like 2 hours.
And you got to be around a lot of really sketchy human beings. And it makes you really uncomfortable.
I'm
I
going
like
to
going
get
to a public pool.
I'm going to get to that.
Never. So we go and there's
I
like
think
no
we're in it.
lines for anything. We're 10 minutes away. That was the last time I enjoyed a trip to an amusement park. Since then, I've taken my kids to Disney. No, never again. I've taken my kids to Universal. Worse. Nope, I'm out of the amusement park game. I'm not emotionally.
How do you feel
equipped
about Chuck E.
to deal
Cheese?
with it?
At least you get pizza.
Yeah, I was gonna make a terrible joke. I'm gonna let it go.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So
Let's not talk about how you like people watching at Chuck E. Cheese.
is that really people watching?
Well, I mean, if you
They have
show
a term for that.
if you show up with like
That was a joke about a man watching little kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
if
know.
you show up with like a badge and a clipboard, half a Chuck E. Cheese will empty out.
If you show up with a badge, have a Chuck E. Cheese will empty out. You don't even need the clipboard.
Full Chris Hansen mode.
Show up in a van with a little window on the back and have a Chuck E. Cheese will empty out. Boo. Anyway, it was down
Pedophilia
at,
jokes. All right, that's where we're at today.
yeah, that's
I didn't even make
so
those
anyway.
jokes that time. I just played along.
What happened at Kings Island, Martelle?
so we're down there. It was on Friday. It was pretty empty. I mean, for the most part, they weren't super busy. I'm used to Disneyland. Like I've been to Disneyland probably 20 sometimes.
You're
in
a
the past.
masochist, my man.
That's 30 sometimes too many.
Yeah, and I don't mind going to Disneyland. It doesn't bother me. Being in crowds necessarily doesn't bother me. Being around people bothers me. So figure that one out. But
You don't like interacting with people.
I don't.
You don't mind passing through crowds of strangers.
Right. I just
You
don't
wanna
like.
deal
I don't
with
want to
people.
talk to anybody. I don't want to say hi. I don't want to say excuse me. I don't want to say get the fuck out of my way.
All the social niceties.
Right. I don't want to push somebody. I don't want to have to shank them. I
right.
don't want to have to do anything.
That's how I feel. Every time I'm in a big crowd of people, I feel like I'm on the edge of getting in a fight at all times.
That's why we
Usually,
don't.
yeah, because people are just it's self-absorbent and not paying attention to what the hell they're doing,
And that angers me and makes me want to
and
fight.
it makes me
Right.
Exactly.
want to just start slam dancing.
I'm so mad at you all here. And he pulls out this little boom box from like
And just start
the 90s.
waving
piece
my
of
hands.
cardboard.
Yeah, no, that's
you're
break dancing.
Oh, you're talking the
He's
mosh,
talking about moshing.
the
talking about,
moshing
like-
of the pits.
Yes. So we're down there, and first thing we do is we hit off Planet Snoopy. So because that's about the only thing Harley can do. Is
Yeah, she's tiny.
Tiny. So we go down there, and I encounter the
goes-
whitest of white trash.
You've not. Never mind. Nope. Probably some listeners.
No.
Yep. I will say, watch.
Randy knew where I was
one of
going.
these days,
No.
one of those people will listen. And yes, we are talking about you.
The whitest of white trash live across the street from me. You just go ahead and take a look outside.
Well, no, I love when I leave. It's always like a rummage sale.
It's a rummage
by the
sale
curb.
across the street.
There's just a line of
They had a
broken
party outside.
stools
Yeah,
and broken furniture
Well-
and everything. And it changes. It's like people come and get it, and then
Oh
they
yeah,
put
and
more
they,
out.
they just put more shit out.
Randy and I are from Circleville. That gives whole new meaning to south of the tracks.
Well,
South of the track, Circleville.
they haven't put anything out because they had a party last night.
Nice.
So
They needed the furniture.
they needed some of the stuff that they had. So I'm sure they'll be putting stuff out once people that passed out on their front lawn are leaving. They'll put some more stuff out. But there was an interracial couple there. The grandmother, top notch. Like she had her upper lip pierced, opposite nostril
the
pierced.
grandmother.
This is the grandmother.
Well, to be fair, some grandmas are 32.
She was. She probably couldn't have been no more than 47.
Okay, rock on.
So
Pretty specific number, but
right,
I got you.
We're going with that. So right upper lip pierced, just a little stud.
Yes.
Left nostril pierced.
You're describing my daughter right now. Go
Okay,
ahead.
sweet. She was hair 2 different colors, and she is
What colors? Like black and
like
gray?
black and blonde.
Oh, yeah. Dyed that way.
She was going for what looked like she had like partial dreads going on.
Oh, you really
this
are
is a white
describing
woman.
my daughter
Yeah, this is
right
getting
now.
real close.
Okay, so partial
Hair
dreads
colors
going
off,
on.
but pretty
Yeah.
close.
Partial dreads. So
Right.
she had normal hair, and then she had like 1 or 2 10 maybe dreadlocks, and they
1
were
or 2 10.
and then those were like dyed black and blonde, like
Right.
they gradiented out. She had grills.
Shut up.
Serious.
That's still a thing? Grills.
Why
dog.
not? Why wouldn't it be? Because white trash. And she was chasing around 5 little kids.
Oh, goodness.
Now the parents are there too.
You know, if she had 5 leashes, it wouldn't be a problem.
Right. The parents are there too, and they're helping corral these 5 unruly little bastards that are running all over Planet Snoopy. They have names like that I'm just not even going to try to pronounce. But she's yelling,
That's G.W.'s daughter.
nice.
Absolutely love her. But you're describing her, that's her in 30
But
years.
she's not 47.
No.
No.
Give it time.
Almost 21.
we follow everywhere that we went. We ended up running into this woman, and she's carrying a baby, but then she's got 4 other unruly little shits running around, trying to like keep them intact, while the mother's like over here doing this, and the father's yelling at the one kid. And I was like, can't you just leave? Can't just please leave?
Was there malt liquor involved?
God, I wish there would have been. It would have been so much better. Just like pull out a bottle.
For you or for them?
Both of us.
Pull out 45 and let's go.
Get
juice.
You know what?
Oh, no.
Get yourself a Mickey's. Give me some Zima and a Jolly Rancher. Let's party.
You just described high school, man.
So, and then there are other, like, they have like smoking sections down there. So like, you can smoke here, can't smoke here.
Right.
The smoking sections, white trash. Not one classy looking motherfucker.
How many classy people do you know that still smoke cigarettes, though? Like, I know a lot of guys.
In view of other people.
Right. I do know some people that smoke, and I know some, honestly, a lot of them are like outdoorsy.
Other people,
Zero?
Zero.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Most smokers these days are either the trashiest of the trash, and they're smoking the Pall Malls and the Cools. Or you got the people still smoke Marlboros, and it's because they just grew up on a farm or in the country where everybody did,
right.
Grandpa did, and you know. I know of,
there wasn't a farm boy down there.
The only time I'm going to see classy people smoking anything, it's either going to be a cigar, and not a black and mild, not one you get at a gas station.
A black and mild is not a cigar.
Exactly, it's the malt liquor of cigars, or a pipe, or probably weed. I know some really, really intelligent individuals that might enjoy a little. Now, but as far as cigarettes, I only know a few people. My brother-in-law smokes cigarettes. He spent 10 years in the Marine Corps. It's kind of ingrained in his DNA, right. And he's quit a few times and he's fought, you know. But yeah, when you're talking people that go to amusement parks on a Friday and sit in the smokers' outdoor lounge, most of them aren't going to be.
Oh no, none of these people were classy.
They were not cute babies. We'll put it that way.
You know what's worse and less classy than the white trash in the smoking area just destroying their lungs?
Is the guy walking around with a bottle of Bud Light because you can in Kings Island?
No, the guy walking around with his vape trying to look like a fucking dragon.
Jesus.
That drives me even crazier. I would rather watch somebody just hotbox a whole pack of cigarettes than watch some douchebag with his vape. I can't take
vaping is the new thing, and it's so cool.
I got a question.
It's a sport now.
It's retarded.
It's not a sport just because they compete. Cheerleading is not a sport and they compete.
That's a fact.
You're about to chat my cheeks. It's not a sport.
Cheerleading's a sport.
You're wrong. You're completely wrong.
Hold on. Why?
Yep. It's not because they compete. It's because there's some athleticism that has to go into cheerleading.
Okay, there's athleticism that has to go into gymnastics.
Right. And dance. And gymnastics is a sport.
Dance. Is dance a sport?
Dance, I would consider dance. Dance is more of an art depending on which one it is.
See, I don't consider it
gymnastics is a sport.
Nothing that you're saying right now makes any sense.
Unfortunately, soccer is a sport.
If it can be, here's the differentiator in whether something is a sport or not. If there is an objective, not a subjective way that scores are tabulated.
For gymnastics, there is an objective way.
No, there's not. There's 3 people deciding what a score is, and their interpretation of it is what matters. It's their opinion.
Now,
if you take gymnastics and their goal is to do 4 backflips across the floor and at the end dunk a basketball, and they score points based on how many balls go through the hoops, sport.
But on gymnastics, it's all about it's about the landing.
Yeah, but there's still
you can't bobble the landing.
Then why do 3 people that are judging it see the exact same thing and give different scores?
It's based.
It's their fucking interpretation. It's not a sport.
It's their interpretation on the on the floor performance or the bar performance, on how they perform and where they're all 3 of those judges are looking at different aspects of the performance.
But here's my point.
They're not all looking at the same thing.
There's 2 things that are bothering me about this conversation. The first one, that you know this much shit about gymnastics.
It's because my sister was a cheerleader.
Me sad on the inside. My daughter was a cheerleader. I didn't give a shit.
Well,
I love her, but I didn't care.
Back to how good of a daddy he is.
If you're talking about things that are sports, there has to be an objective way that a winner or a loser is determined, not a score. For example, there's no difference to me between figure skating and gymnastics. And it's a well-known fact that figure skating gives more points to people that are in their little circle than people that are not in their little circle.
Fact.
That's a fact.
Bears eat beets. Here's my thing. You want to make cheerleading. You want to make cheerleading a sport. Here's my idea, and this would make it a sport because there would be an offense and a defense. Your squad has to go out and do a routine, right?
While being tackled by the other squads.
Well, tackling. I figure that's too much because you can't do anything if you're being tackled.
Being shot by Nerf guns.
Not Nerf guns, but the American
guns.
Gladiator tennis ball guns, the cannon. You get to unload on the other squad trying to do their thing while you're shooting them. And then they get judged on how well they did while getting pelted with tennis balls at 80 mile an hour. That makes it more of a sport. There's an offense and a defense. There's two teams acting against each other.
Still not a sport. The problem is...
I just want to shoot people with one of those tennis ball cannons.
That's fair. I totally get that.
I mean, we can build that in the backyard here.
There's a difference between something taking athletic ability and skill and something being a sport.
That I agree with.
Lots of things that take athletic ability and skill. For example, you ever watch on like a Sunday afternoon, not during football season, or especially during football season on ESPN, they do all this weird shit like bowling, or which I would say is an activity that borders on sport, but
it's an athletic competition.
Occasionally they'll have like the lumberjack games. There is definitely athletic skill and strength that goes into being able to chop a log in half in
like
30
swings,
seconds.
Yeah.
However, it's not a sport.
It's a competition.
That's a competition. Curling is not a sport.
There's an offense and defense. There's
I don't give a flying shit. You drink beer and you slide a rock across the ice.
It's the greatest of sports, and you're wrong.
Objective. It's my favorite winter sport to watch. I'm not going to lie.
Word.
At the Olympics,
that is a competition as well.
I can't stand most of the Olympic stuff. I really can't. I'm one of the few people, but I don't like it. But I watch curling every winter. I'm like, let's go.
Well, and that's one of my favorite things when I get in this discussion. It's usually with some cheerleader. I was a youth pastor, and my favorite thing when I'd go do some big retreat where there's like 500 teenagers, somebody's walking around with a T-shirt that says, Franklin Heights football or Circleville wrestling. There's always a cheerleader, and I'd always see this one girl walk by one time, and I'm still friends to her this day, and then she's going through college and everything. Said Philo cheerleading, and all I said in passing, I wasn't even looking at her. I just went, Philo cheerleading sucks, like half under my breath, but loud enough so she could hear. And she's like, what? And I was like, oh, no, I'm sure you're good. It's just cheerleading's not even a sport. And she went off. So my teens all know that I just like picking on people.
Yeah.
And her whole thing is, it is too a sport. I said, what makes a sport? She goes, it's really hard. And I said, so is being an architect. Doesn't make them athletes. Doesn't make it a sport. Building ability is not a sport. And she's like, well, we have competition. I was like, oh, so you consider band a sport? Band's not a sport. They just walk around and play instruments. Well, no, they compete. Well, it takes a lot of athletic ability. I'm not saying it doesn't. There's just no, for me, it's the objective subjective thing. It's the offense defense thing. And a lot of people say when I debate what's a sport and what's not with people, again, I like playing devil's advocate, just seeing how far I can push it. But my favorite argument is when somebody goes, well, they do it in the Olympics. I said, yes, they do, in the Olympic Games. That's why they don't call them the Olympic sports. There are some sports in the Olympic Games, but when it comes down to cheerleading and gymnastics, it takes incredible skill that I have never amassed and never will. It is definitely, there's hard competitions. People pour their lives into this for some reason. That's cool. I don't consider it a sport. That's personal opinion.
That's fine. But cheerleading's not in the Olympics either.
No, that's not what I meant with cheerleading.
Right. It is in the Bring It On movies, though.
Bring It On would be so much better if there were tennis ball cannons.
Everything would be so much better if tennis ball cannons.
Not one of those on our cars.
Work would be better if there were tennis ball cannons.
I'd say that depends on the job.
I was going to say, I work at 2 buildings. I'm the maintenance director or supervisor over 2 buildings. They're elderly people. I would blow out so many hips.
Work would be better if I could just carry a Nerf gun with the little yellow balls.
Why don't you?
I would get in trouble.
Oh, I mean, have you tried to see?
No, not yet.
I mean, give it a go.
Better to ask forgiveness.
Worst thing that can happen. You work in corporate America, right?
Unfortunately.
Okay, so they can't fire you for that immediately. There's like a process.
No. I think that would be almost immediate termination.
Really?
That is a gun these days.
Yeah. What if it's shaped like a bow and arrow and not a gun?
As long as it's not a flaming arrow in Ohio.
Well, yeah. As long as it's not a flaming arrow, it's totally legal.
We learned that.
It's legit. My kids can't even make finger guns in school. So if I walk into...
Are you talking 5 or 7 or 9 years ago, that kid got in trouble for biting a Pop-Tart and going, oh, this kind of looks like a gun.
Right.
And held it up. It was a Pop-Tart.
It was a Pop-Tart. Yeah. I would probably... They'd probably have a very stern talking to, even if I brought... Well, I couldn't get a bow and arrow set into work anyway, because I'd be so much bigger than a small Nerf gun.
Oh, you get the little Nerf mini crossbow looking thing.
I got a better chance of getting my slingshot it through the door.
Problem solved.
Do you have a 3D printer at work?
No.
Because if so, you could just email yourself the plans, print it,
There you go.
and go to town. You wouldn't have to worry about getting it in. It was already
You
there.
got a slingshot.
I got a
Perfect
slingshot.
time. Take a slingshot and fling ice cubes at people's heads. They melt. The evidence is gone. It's like the old riddle.
Yeah, the last time somebody flung an ice cube at my head, he got tackled into a wall.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Hosterman, you're not listening to this, Hosterman, but I'll still kick you in the
He's
teeth.
not alive anymore. Is he?
Yeah.
I just haven't heard from him in like a decade. I assume.
Oh, so you just assumed he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's when he stopped taking out with us. When you tackled him.
Well, we treated him so bad that whole trip.
Okay. We have to preface we got to kind of preface it, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So, my cousin one time went for a business trip between Christmas and New Year's down to Louisville, Kentucky to meet with a business partner. And I said, hey, our plant shuts down that week. I'll go with you. That turned into a 4-man trip. Next year, we decided to add 2 guys, one being GW and one being our buddy Steve Hosterman. And Steve is a very smart guy. Was making good money at the time. I'm sure he still is. You know,
And has the social skills of a rock.
I'll give one example of the first day we were there. We went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Louisville. Place is empty. Bone dry. Because it's between Christmas and New Year's. Who goes to Louisville, Kentucky? You know, people in Louisville aren't going out.
Do.
So we go out there because at 4th Street, they still block off the road, card you there, and then you get to go into all the bars without being hassled. You know, the bowling alley, they got all kinds of stuff. It's like, let's go for dinner. We go to Hard Rock Cafe, sit down, and he's got one of those LED belt buckles that you can make say different things.
Yeah, it's pretty
exactly.
douchey.
Oh,
He's
God.
pretty douchey.
So
He's that guy.
The waitress walks up, is like, "Hey guys, blah blah, I'm so and so. You know, what do you want to drink?" He's like, "Hey, what's your name?" And she was like, she said it again. He's like, "Okay." So he starts filling his belt, and we're all like, "I'll have a water. I'll have a Pepsi." You know. She comes back, and he's like, he stands up and pulls out this belt buckle and says, "Hey, got your name on my belt." And she looked at it, and then looked at him, and then looked at us, and we all just kind of like shrugged and started laughing. And he's still dead serious, like trying to pick her up. And she was like, "You spelled it wrong." That was the end of that conversation.
This guy, so earlier in the day, we all decided we were going to go to the liquor store, right? And we needed to. This is when he. So
yes.
we're going
not just the liquor store. It's called Liquor
It's
Mart.
called Liquor Barn. It's the greatest.
Liquor Barn.
Yeah,
it's a Walmart. You go in. It's not like they have a liquor section. They have an aisle of tequila, an aisle of
It's
vodka,
amazing.
an aisle
that's-
of bourbon.
It's
That
amazing.
sounds like my Nirvana right there.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty
Oh, you'd
amazing.
love it.
So we're going over there, and we decide it's silly to take extra vehicles. So I've got my Santa Fe at the time, and this
Hyundai
has been
Santa Fe.
15 years ago, right?
like an 03 Hyundai Santa
yeah,
Fe.
and 5 of us fit in it just fine, but there's 6 of us.
Well, we didn't fit in it fine because we're large, but
we made it work.
right.
Who sat in the cargo bay?
It was Hosterman.
Hosterman
He was
is
like,
LED belt
because he
buckle.
had drove down. He was like, "Well, I'll just drive myself." We were like, "No, if you're going to go
He
with
drove
us,
in
you
his
got to
brand
ride."
new Acura.
Like you're
whatever.
not allowed.
It's a
We
nice
don't want
car.
you to come with us unless you sit in the back. So
He climbed in the hatch, and he was older than half of us.
oh yeah, he's just rattling around in there the whole way. So
going on the freeway and everything, just bouncing around the back of this old Santa Fe.
this guy, we go out that night. So after the belt buckle situation, which was just awful, I almost felt bad for him at that point, but I held it in reserve because I thought
no,
he
you're
would
talking
do
about
more
the-
stupid
oh.
things. So we get
I know where this is
to
going.
this bar, and he decides he wants to go dance. And you know how girls at a club, when they don't want to be bothered, they circle up?
Yeah.
And they're just dancing with themselves with their backs to everybody else?
Bicyclist.
Fuck him.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hosterman doesn't understand that social cue, right? And he's all dressed to the nines. He's got like a jacket on. He's got like,
Button up.
like he's looking like,
Wearing jeans and t-shirts or polos.
Yeah.
I think there's like some kind of dress code, but they're like, nobody's here. It's
well, and almost
after
everybody
Christmas.
that's there, like Randy's he isn't married yet, but he's in a relationship, a serious one with his current wife. I'm
Yeah.
married. Our
Everybody's
friend
pretty much
Jason's
taken.
married. We're just there to have a good time, right? So Hosterman goes out and starts trying to force his way into this dance circle.
Now, mind you, this club's like at 25% of what it could hold. There's not a lot of people.
Pops his collar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and starts trying to dance with these girls. Well, we're in this like horseshoe booth, and there's another one right behind us. And I hear this guy who's obviously very affected. He's a gay guy, right? He's making fun of Hosterman.
Flamboyantly gay.
Yeah, he like
Not like he might like dudes like, whoa, that dude
Yes.
loves him some dudes.
yeah, and he's making fun of Hosterman. And finally, I turn around all serious. I'm like, listen, man, that's our friend. And the dude about just shits his pants.
His face went white. It was a booth full of dudes that looked like us.
And I immediately start laughing. I'm like, no, dude, you're fine. We're making fun of him too.
Turns out the gay guy was cool.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with him that night.
It was solid. That was the night I almost stepped on Midget Mac too.
Was that the same night?
It might have been. It was either that night or the night before.
Yeah.
You remember Midget Mac?
Do you know? You remember the Flavor Flav show, Flavor of Love?
No, I never watched that.
Good for you.
Oh, that show was amazing.
It was a reality show where girls come on, kind of like The Bachelor, Bachelorette,
Yeah.
but for Flavor Flav.
Oh.
Well,
You
one
know
of
who
the girls,
Flavor Flav is, right?
Yeah, I know who Flavor Flav is. I just never watched this
one
show.
of the girls who he nicknamed New York got her own show called I Love New York.
Yeah.
I Love New York. One of the contestants on it was a guy named Midget Mac.
And he was a midget.
If you Google him, he's a midget. His name's Mac.
I think that's a derogatory term for little people.
They all freaked me out, so
I don't care what you think it is. That was his name on the screen.
yes.
Sorry that you got so sensitive in the last 15 years. But yeah, we go in there and it's dark. GW's an ogre. You know, he
I
was
may
the
or may
inspiration
not
behind
have
Shrek.
been a little tipsy at the time.
And yeah, he's already had he had half of a light beer, so he's already feeling a little buzz. But we go in and we're walking around. Well, this dude is short. He is of a darker skin complexion.
And it's dark
with
in the
dreadlights.
room.
He's wearing all black clothing.
Perfect.
GW's leading us in, and all of a sudden there's like this big commotion, and these dudes all pull, like I'm a couple of dudes behind GW.
They
These
flash
dudes
pieces
pull
at
up
us.
their jackets that are with Midget Mac, and they're all bigger dudes.
And they're
they've all
strapped.
they're all strapped. They've all got pistols in the waistband. I was like, whoa, I kind of step up, and me and my cousin Jay, because Jay's like, Jay, for me and Jay, he's seriously like the best friend ever, because he'll fight. If I call Jay and said, Jay, G's with me, we got to fight, and he'd be like, where are you? He has no other question. How do I get, like, we're just that loyal to each other.
We're in
you know?
Louisville, Kentucky. He's like, oh, you guys are screwed.
Well, he was with us.
Yeah,
So
he was with us.
me and Jay step up like, whoa, what's going on, guys? Like, hey.
I almost
And then I look
stepped on
down,
him, dude.
and they're like, man, he GW, being the ogre he is, literally almost stepped on a midget and about got shot. This is no exaggeration.
That happened.
It really happened, and that we could do probably a 3-part series on that one trip
Yes.
alone, and we were only there 4 days.
And how that all ties back around into shooting, slingshotting, and ice cubes at people.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So we finally get back to our hotel that night, and we had this suite, and it's a really nice hotel, and it's this big suite. And so there's 2 bedrooms, and I'm sitting at the desk doing something, and Hosterman decided that he had grown a set of balls. And I don't know what made him think that.
No, we were all playing around throwing stuff at each other.
He just chucks an ice cube.
He's not athletic.
He chucks an ice cube across and just chunks me right between the eyes.
It was no lie, David and Goliath. You got this skinny kid, probably about 5'10", throws an ice cube and catches a G right between the eyes.
He's laying on the bed.
No, he ran back to the bedroom. He was on the couch.
Oh, that's right. Because he
Sprinted down
took
the
off.
hall.
He dives across the bed as I get there. I grab the mattress and just slam him up against the wall behind the mattress.
I thought they were going to end up falling through the wall, like the exterior wall of this place.
It was not good. But that's how it comes back around to the ice cubes. He hit me in the eyes right between the eyes with the ice cube, and then he almost
So
died.
maybe ice cubes that work through a slingshot's not a good idea. Never mind.
Even if it's a little pebble ice?
Oh, that's fine. You shaved ice.
Yeah.
Way harder to find.
Sweet. I'll just
like
make,
a
I'll just make
shotgun
little
blast.
pebble balls out of shaved
Right.
How
ice.
did
There
he
you go.
die? Perfect crime.
I'll just shape them into little bullets. Pack them
perfect.
into shells.
Yeah. There's a riddle about that.
No big deal.
Yeah, that was a good trip, man.
Oh, that was the fish trip.
That,
Where I was Evan Almighty.
we don't have enough. Do we have time? How much time do we have?
Plenty of time.
Okay, so 6 of us are there.
Edit the story.
Yeah, you're going to have to. We all went down there knowing we were just going to have a good time. We were basically going out to party. We went to the liquor barn, and every one of us bought a handle of some kind of liquor. And then we go out drinking, come back to the hotel and drink the liquor because we bought a handle of liquor because, like, oh, we're going to save money. But then we still went to the bars and blew a lot of money. So that first night we did all that.
You're supposed to pre-drink before you go out to drink.
What
Yeah.
is it when you drink all the time that you're awake?
See, here's what happened. We got down there. We went to the liquor barn.
problem.
Exactly.
There you go.
We went to the liquor barn, did that. I think we did have 1 or 2 to pregame, then went out all night, came back. Everybody went to bed.
And that was
after
a
the
Saturday
screen.
night.
We got up the next day at like 10:30, 11. Everybody's getting up. We kind of get showered and get dressed. And this hotel has 2 towers on either side of 4th Street. It's called the Galt House.
Yeah.
And they have this walkway between them, but it's not just a walkway like to Nationwide. It is very wide. It's got a restaurant It's got a full bar. It's got like a giant, like 12 by 12 bird cage that goes to the ceiling. Like, it's a nice little lounge area. It's got a grand piano in one corner. It's huge.
This is in the walkway?
Yeah. Like, to get from one to the other, it's this whole, like, it's a building in of itself across the street. Yeah, really nice hotel. If you're ever down there, I recommend it. Just don't stay in room 222. I don't even remember what room we were in. But, so we get up, it's like 10:30, 11. We're all like, I'm so hungry. We hadn't eaten since dinner the night before. We've been drinking all night. Everybody's kind of got a mild hangover going. And I was just like, well, they serve food at the bar down in the atrium.
Brunch.
And yeah, I was like, there's food, there's brunch. And they're like, what kind of food? I was like, I think they got like sandwiches. They got like all this breakfast stuff. And everybody kind of looked at each other. And I was like, we could also, get a drink. It's noon. They'll serve. Everybody kind of looks at each other and, all right, we're going to do this. So we got up, we go down this bar, and the bar is really cool because the whole bar top is a fish tank. It's just something you don't see all the time. So we all sit down. There's, a few people here and there. Again, it's not real busy. A few people having lunch and a couple other guys at the bar, and we're all down there thinking, I'm sure we looked ridiculous now that I know what it's like to see people who think they're not drunk or hungover. But I'm down there in like shorts and a t-shirt, and we tried to shower and clean up. We all line up on the bar, and we're sitting there for a while, and I'm sitting to G's left. I'm starting noticing something, and we ordered a drink. We got some food, and we keep talking, and finally I'm staring, and he's like, what are you doing? Why are you being so quiet? I said, I've been sitting here for like 20 minutes, and every single fish in this bar, and this bar is like 20-something feet long probably, every single fish is right in front of you. He looked down, and he went, what the hell? And I was like, what is going on? So he moves. It's like freaking him out. So he's starting to get, like, he wasn't hungover. I think he was still drunk. And then we started drinking again. So he moves. The longer we're there, the more GW moves, and the more time the fish follow him, no matter where he goes. So by this time, it's a game. We're like trying to figure it out.
I start yelling at the fish.
Out of the bar, and he's like, I was like, dude, you're Evan Almighty. He's like, leave me alone, fish. And the kicker is, instead of pretzels on the bar, they're serving goldfish crackers. Right? So we're sitting there, and finally he just loses it. Like, he got quiet for a minute, and he's just sitting there, and we're all talking about whatever, and there's some on the TV. And all of a sudden, G just stands up. He's like, F you, fish. I want to eat your effing babies. He grabs a handful of crackers, throws them in his mouth. He's like, how do you like that, you effing fish? Leave me alone. And I'm like, buddy, you got to calm down. He's like, what? They won't leave me alone. I'm like, they're goldfish in a tank. He's like, I don't care. I turn around. I was like, there's a family with kids right there, like 10 feet behind us at a table, and the mom is just like, her eyes are like as big as saucers. He's like, he's like, I don't care. I said, gee, they're kids. He was like, oh. He turns around, the drunken steward. He's like, sorry, kids. He sits back down. That was the end of it, man. And that whole trip.
Well, what's crazy about that whole situation is ever since then, this is a true story. You ask my wife, you ask any of our friends, we go on vacation a lot. Randy makes fun of us.
They go on vacation monthly.
Not monthly. We go two or three
What's
times.
What's wrong with that?
Not like going to Deer Creek.
2 or 3 times a year. And anytime,
nothing wrong with it.
Anytime that we are in the ocean in an area where it's like not super touristy, where their fish like swim around, all the fish follow me.
So you're fucking Aquaman.
It's really weird. It's really weird.
That's actually an insult to him because he's a huge comic book nerd.
If I'm in the water, the fish are like zoom.
How are they?
Zoom.
Thank you. Just in case somebody didn't catch that the first time.
Oh, show.
So you just need to start calling on dolphins and great whites, and
I guess it's freaky. I don't like it.
So if anybody ever gets stranded in the ocean, call GW. He's your Aquaman.
there you go.
Can't help you anywhere else. Literally, he cannot do a daggone thing for you.
Correct. I can swim. I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, float.
Well,
I deep dive.
floating, swimming.
Does that count? No? Okay.
Oh man, I have so many. Telling those stories brought back so many memories.
Oh, that trip was awesome.
So another midday drinking day, we were there. It might have been the same day. Actually, I think it's when we left there. The first trip we went on, my cousin, who was down there for the business trip, him and his business partner said, "Hey, they've got a really nice
Skeet, right?
Yeah, Skeet. They were both named Eric, so I nicknamed the new Eric from Louisville. I didn't know. I just said, "Hey, your name's Skeet," and it just stuck. I called him Skeeter at first. He's like, "I don't like that." I said, "Fine, it's Skeet," and he was like, "Whatever." So Skeet's like, we're like, "Hey, where's there a nice place to eat that's open? It's the middle of the winter. It's between Christmas and New Year's." He said, "Actually,
everybody closes down in the winter in Louisville.
There's nothing to do. There's a rotating bar at top of the other tower from where we're staying." So we walk over and went up and we ate there. And of course we go in. Well, first we called. Yeah, we're open. Well, there's a dress code. Now, we came down from Ohio, and my cousin Jay at the time, his luggage was used Kroger bags, like plastic bags. He'd walk down with just like 3 plastic bags full of clothes and toothbrush and stuff.
And a pair of flip-flops.
And flip-flops, no shoes.
Good to go.
So they said, yeah, there's a dress code. I'm like, I didn't pack anything nice. We each had a polo, and they were like, if they wear jeans without holes in a polo, will you let them in? And they're like, fine, we don't have anybody here anyway, whatever. Because it was like, I mean, collared shirt, slacks. It was a real uppity business center, you know, kind of thing. So we go over there, we go up, and I see the menu, and it's one of those menus where the prices don't have the amount of cents on them. It just says like a dash and a number.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a Chinese restaurant where you're like, I want the number 28. No, that bowl of soup is $28. You know, like, I'm way too poor white trash for this place. So I think I got a bowl of French onion soup that was like $28. And Jay's like, dude, I'm a Taco Bell kind of guy. I ain't paying for this. I said, well, just don't, you know, get an appetizer or something. He's like, the appetizers are like $18.
Just ask for a glass of water and some crackers.
No, he asked for a salad. So then the other two order like prime rib or, you know, something real fancy. So my soup comes out as good. Jay's salad comes out and is literally a wedge of lettuce and 2 fish on a plate. It looked like anchovies, but I mean, full fish, eyeballs, everything. And he just, delicious. You're talking about somebody that grew up from nothing, right? And he's looking at this plate. He don't know what to do. And he looks at me, and I was like, I shrug. I'm like, bro, I got soup. I went safe. I don't know what exactly is in my soup, but it says French onion soup. And we're sitting there with the guys eat their meal, and of course they're laughing. They think it's funny. And I mean, Jay at the time, I think this is when he's working 3rd shift security only on the weekends. So he doesn't have a lot to his name.
No
you know?
money.
Right. And he's sitting there, and I'm like, dude, just eat it. And there's only like one other table of people close. They sit us close to them, you know. I'm like, dude, just eat the fish. He's like, I'm not eating no fish, man. That thing's staring at me. I said, bro, just eat the fish. Eat the lead. Do something. Act normal. You know, I'm trying, like, I'm looking all uppity in my Walmart polo shirt, eat my soup. And he takes his fork, and he pokes the fish, and the eye starts bulging. He's like, bro. The whole dinner was, we literally spent it playing with these 2 dead fish on his plate, making them talk to each other and stuff. And then at the end, Skeet picked up the bill. I was like, son of a, I could have
That's
steak.
why he picked up the bill.
Right. Yeah. When he first saw us, he was like, I ain't feeding y'all. So when we go back there with the other 2 guys, like, oh, let's just go show them the rotating restaurant. You kind of see over the river, you know, and all this. Well, we go up there, and like halfway up the elevator, middle of the day, nothing going on. Eric, my cousin, he's like, no, it's not. You know, we really can't get in. We shouldn't even waste our time. So I was like, all right, well, we hit the buttons. Like, next floor, we'll jump off. So we jump off. Well, Jay was a little tipsier than most of us, so he kind of had that trouble getting off the wall. He was kind of staggering. I said, you just want to go to the top and see? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, I'll stay with you. He's like, cool. Well, right as the doors go to close, before Elf even came out, I did the Elf thing and hit a bunch of buttons and ran out. And I pushed him back when he tried to follow me, and he was too off balance to come. So
I gone for about 2 hours.
Yeah, I run up and catch up with the guy. They hit an elevator down. So I run into their elevator, and they're like, I thought you were staying with Jay. I was like, yeah, I changed my mind. And nobody questioned it. So we go back to the atrium and start having delicious, nutritious food. And we're sitting there, and no lie, like 2.5 hours later, Jay comes in from the other side of where we were, the other building. And I was like, dude, where have you been? We didn't have cell phones, like reliable cell phone stuff back then. I'm like, where have you been? He said, I don't know, dude. It took me like 3 or 4 floors to realize I should get off.
On a meeting?
He said I got off at this one floor, and literally the only thing in front of me was doors. There was no hallway, no nothing. It was just, you get off the elevator, there are doors. Like in the Men in Black, when he walks in, you know, there's one dude in a chair and doors. I said, what do you do? He went, I opened them. I said, okay, is that how you got out? He went, nope. So what happened? He said, there was like 30 dudes in a business meeting. I'm walking in there in the middle of the day drunk on these guys' business meeting. I said, what'd they say? He said, they didn't say a thing. They just stared at me, and I just said, hi. And then I turned around and walked out. Then I said, where'd you go from there? He's like, I was outside somewhere, and there's a girl walking a dog. And then I walked through a garage, and then I was down by the river, and then I came up this building, and here I am. Yeah, that whole trip was, I think by the 4th day, we were like, okay, we definitely are excited to just sober up and go home.
The drive home was pretty miserable.
When we put 5 people in your Santa Fe, and everybody was trying to sleep. My cousin Eric was the skinniest one, so he was in the middle of the back seat with no headrest.
Between Jay and Eddie.
Yeah, it was between my cousin Jay and our friend Eddie. So he's sitting there. Of course, Eddie's got his head against the window. Jay's head's against the window. I'm in the front seat.
Eric's like this.
Eric said every time I turn around, it's like your kid when they're young, you know, and then the car seat head's flopping around. Yeah. And well, no, he was full on sleeping, but his head was just the most awkward position. We got home. He was like, I can't feel anything. My neck hurts so bad. Oh, my head's pounding. Yeah, that was a good trip. I don't know what all we talked about today or what we're supposed to, but this was a good time. Walked down memory lane. I went from what chaps my cheeks to laughing hysterically.
And Martelle's like, this is the dumbest story I've ever heard in my life, but I'm just going to go with it.
I am fine with it.
I'm sure he's heard worse. I hope. Well, I've not.
I just wish I had stories to tell.
What are you guys doing? You want to go to Louisville this winter? Take Martelle with us.
I do not think that I am physically or emotionally equipped at this point in my life to relive that weekend. You know what would happen if we all tried to go down there again? We would last till about 9 o'clock every night.
Well, that's what I said.
I wouldn't even make it that long.
Jay wanted to go down. He's like, hey, when he turned 30, we went out by Eric's 500 miles away.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Buckhorn Podcast. You can send us an email at buckhornpodcast@gmail.com. Leave us any feedback. I don't care. It can be good. It can be bad. It can be indifferent. Doesn't matter. Just leave us some feedback. Leave us it on iTunes. Leave it on Facebook. Leave it on Instagram. Leave it on Twitter. Leave it anonymously. You find one of those like dump email addresses and just shoot us an email. That's fine too. I'll be the one who reads them. I'll read them out loud on the air. I don't care. Anyway, thanks for listening. Check us out. Stay tuned for part 2 next week. I think Randy says something about sleeping in a inflatable raft that turns into a rubber sleeping bag at some small tiny lake down near Jeffersonville. So look forward to that. Haven't gotten into that one yet. So it'll be interesting. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Randy will be back. We'll definitely get recording on another show. And see ya.